The spaceship came down from the sky like a falling star made of glass. It landed in the empty field outside Seoul, where the government had cleared everything for 5 kilometers. Soldiers stood at attention. Scientists checked their equipment nervously. News cameras pointed at the ship from behind barriers. Hyun-soo stood in the front row of the human delegation. He wore his naval uniform with all his medals pinned neatly across his chest. His hands were sweaty inside his gloves, but his face remained calm. Next to him, Dr. Ji-woo adjusted her glasses for the 10th time in as many minutes. "Stop fidgeting," Commander Tae-yang whispered to both of them. "They're watching." The alien ship's door opened with no sound at all. Light poured out, bright and strange. Then the aliens stepped onto Earth for the first time in human history. They looked like nothing Hyun-soo had ever imagined. Tall and thin, their skin changed colors like oil floating on water. Their eyes were too large and held depths that made Hyun-soo feel like he was looking at the ocean at night. They moved with grace that seemed impossible, like dancers who had practiced for 1,000 years. The lit alien wore something that might have been robes or might have been part of its body. A device on its chest spoke in perfect Korean. "I am Thelvan of the Mindweavers. We come in peace to meet the new people of this world." Commander Tae-yang stepped forward and bowed. "We welcome you to Earth. I am Commander Tae-yang. We are honored by your visit." Thelvan's head tilted in a way that suggested curiosity. "Your species is young. You have just learned to split the atom for power. But the Council believes all intelligent life deserves to know they are not alone in the universe." "We are grateful," Tae-yang said. He gestured to Hyun-soo. "This is Lieutenant Hyun-soo. He will represent humanity in the first contact protocols." Hyun-soo stepped forward, his heart pounding. They had prepared him for this moment. Months of training, psychological testing, meditation exercises. He was chosen because he was calm under pressure, because he could keep his emotions controlled. Thelvan approached him slowly. The alien's movements were smooth and deliberate, like a cat approaching something it wasn't sure about. "Lieutenant Hyun-soo," the translator device said, "my people are telepaths. We communicate mind to mind. It is faster than words and leaves no room for misunderstanding. With your permission, I would like to establish a mental bridge between our species. It is painless and safe. We have done this with hundreds of other species." Hyun-soo glanced at Tae-yang, who nodded slightly. They had discussed this possibility. The scientists had theories about what might happen. None of them really knew. "I give my permission," Hyun-soo said. His voice came out steady despite his nerves. Thelvan raised one long-fingered hand. The skin shimmered with colors that had no names. "Simply touch my hand. Open your mind. Think of peace and welcome. The connection will form naturally." Hyun-soo lifted his hand and pulled off his glove. His palm looked pale and small compared to the alien's elegant fingers. He took a breath and reached out. Their hands touched. For a moment, nothing happened. Hyun-soo felt the alien's skin against his palm. It was warm and dry and felt like touching smooth stone. He tried to think peaceful thoughts like they taught him. He pictured a calm lake, a quiet forest, his mother's smile. Then Thelvan screamed. The sound was not like anything Hyun-soo had ever heard. It was high and broken, full of pain and terror. The alien's hand jerked away from his, but not before Thelvan's whole body went rigid. The ambassador's eyes rolled back. Purple liquid began leaking from his nose and ears. The alien collapsed. His body hit the ground hard. He started shaking, his limbs moving in ways that bodies should not move. Other aliens rushed forward, crying out in their own language. Their translator devices babbled in a dozen human languages at once. Hyun-soo stood frozen, his hands still extended, not understanding what had just happened. "What did you do?" one of the aliens shouted at him. The translator made the words sound accusing and frightened. "Nothing," Hyan-Su said. "I just touched him like he asked." Commander Taeyang grabbed Hyan-Su's shoulder and pulled him back. "Stand down. Everyone stand down." The alien medical team surrounded Thelvin. They had equipment that looked like liquid metal. It flowed over the ambassador's body. The purple liquid stopped leaking, but Thelvin's eyes stayed rolled back in his head. His body kept twitching. More aliens poured out of the ship. Some pointed weapons at the human delegation. Others shouted orders. The peaceful first contact had turned into chaos in seconds. "We did not attack," Taeyang shouted, raising his hands. The lieutenant did exactly as instructed. One of the aliens, smaller than the others with darker skin, stepped forward. His translator device crackled. "Thelvin is one of our most powerful telepaths. He has touched the minds of murderers, predators, and beings of pure rage. Nothing has ever harmed him like this." "What are you?" Dr. Ji Woo pushed forward despite the weapons. "We're human. We're just humans. We don't have telepathy. We don't have any mental powers at all. We're completely normal." "Normal?" The alien's voice was full of disbelief. "Thelvin's mind is shattered. His mental shields exploded. We can feel the psychic echoes from here. Whatever your lieutenant is, he's not normal." Hyan-Su looked down at his hand. It looked the same as it always had. 5 fingers, a few scars from training accidents, slightly calloused from working with equipment. Nothing special. Nothing dangerous. "I don't understand," he said quietly. "I'm nobody special. I'm just a soldier." The alien medics lifted Thelvin onto a floating stretcher. The ambassador's body had stopped shaking, but he did not wake up. His eyes stared at nothing. More purple liquid leaked from his ears. "You will all come with us," the dark-skinned alien said. His name, the translator said, was Rish. "You will be confined until we understand what happened here. Until we know if you are a threat." "We have rights," Taeyang started to say. "You have nothing," Rish interrupted. "You are a pre-space species that has just harmed a Galactic Council ambassador. Your planet could be quarantined. Your people could be forbidden from ever leaving your world. So you will come with us, now." Hyan-Su wanted to argue. He wanted to run. But he had been a soldier for 12 years. He knew when he had no choice. He looked at Taeyang and nodded. "We'll cooperate," Taeyang said. "But I want it on record that we acted in good faith. We did exactly what we were asked to do." "Your protest is noted," Resh said. "Now move." The human delegation was herded toward the alien ship. Hyan-Su walked between guards, his mind spinning. What had happened? What was different about him? He had spent his whole life being completely ordinary. Good at his job, yes. Mentally stable, certainly. But nothing special. Nothing that should make an alien scream and collapse. As they entered the ship, Hyan-Su looked back at Earth. The news cameras were still recording. The soldiers were shouting into radios. The peaceful first contact that was supposed to unite humanity with the galaxy had become a disaster. And Hyan-Su had no idea why. The ship's door closed behind them with a whisper of air. Inside, everything was white and smooth and alien. The walls seemed to glow with their own light. The air smelled like rain and electricity. They were led to a room with transparent walls. "Wait here," Rish said. "Do not touch anything. Do not attempt to leave. We will decide what to do with you." The door sealed shut. Through the transparent walls, Hyan-Su could see aliens rushing back and forth. Some were crying. Others were angry. All of them looked at the humans with fear and suspicion. Ji-Woo sat down on one of the strange benches that seemed to grow from the floor. "This is bad," she said. This is really bad. What happened to him? Hyan-Su asked. What did I do? I don't know, Ji-Woo said. But we need to figure it out. Fast. Tae-Yang stood by the transparent wall, watching the aliens work. They're scared of us now, he said. Scared of Hyan-Su specifically. We came here to make friends with the galaxy. Instead, we might have just made enemies. Hyan-Su looked at his hand again. Just a normal hand. Just a normal human hand. But somewhere on this ship, an alien ambassador lay broken and unconscious because that hand had touched his. And nobody knew why. 3 days had passed since the incident. Hyan-Su sat alone in a white room that the aliens called a containment cell. The walls let him see out, but nobody could see in unless they wanted to. He could see aliens walking past, their bodies shifting colors as they talked to each other in ways humans could not hear. He had not slept well. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Thelvan screaming and falling. He saw the purple blood leaking from the ambassador's face. He wondered if the alien was still alive or if his touch had killed him. Outside his cell, Dr. Ji-Woo worked at a console with alien equipment that looked like it was made from frozen light. She was trying to explain human biology to the aliens, but they kept asking questions she could not answer. Your brain activity makes no sense, said the alien scientist next to her. His name was Krell, and he looked like a smaller version of Thelvan, but with silver skin instead of rainbow colors. These scans show constant electrical storms. How do you think clearly with all this noise? It's just how our brains work, Ji-Woo said, looking at the scans of Hyan-Su's head. The images showed his brain lit up like a fireworks display, every part active at once. We don't really notice it. You should be in constant pain, Krell said. This level of neural activity would kill most species. It would certainly drive them insane. Commander Tae-Yang stood nearby, his arms crossed. He had been arguing with Raish for 3 days straight, demanding that they be allowed to leave. My lieutenant did nothing wrong, he said for the 100th time. You asked him to make contact. He made contact. What happened was an accident. An accident that has left our ambassador in a coma, Resh replied. His colors had turned dark, which Ji-Woo's translator said meant anger or fear. Thelvan was one of the most powerful minds in the galaxy. He once made peaceful contact with a species that communicated through shared pain. He touched the mind of a serial killer and helped cure him. He has never been harmed by any mind he encountered. Until he touched your human. Then maybe the problem is not with humans, Tae-Yang said. Maybe your telepathy does not work on us. That is what we are trying to understand, Krell said. He touched controls that made new images appear in the air. But we cannot study it properly without making contact again. And after what happened to Thelvan, nobody wants to try. Inside his cell, Hyan-Su pressed his hand against the transparent wall. He could hear them talking through speakers. I'll do it, he said. Let someone try again. I want to understand what happened too. Absolutely not, Tae-Yang said immediately. We're not risking another incident. Commander, we're trapped here until they understand, Hyan-Su said. Earth is probably panicking. Our mission failed. If I can help fix this, I will. Before Tae-Yang could argue, a door opened. Another alien entered, but this one looked different. He had the same basic shape as the other Mindweavers, but scars covered his head. Deep grooves where smooth skin should be. His colors were dull and did not shift like the others. I am Velther, the scarred alien said through his translator. I was once a powerful telepath like Thelvan, but an accident damaged my mental abilities. I can now only sense surface thoughts, and only with great difficulty. This limitation might allow me to touch the human without being overwhelmed. Raish turned quickly. Velther, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do, Velther said. I have already lost my telepathic power. I have nothing more to lose. And this human deserves to know he is not a monster. Hyansu felt something in his chest loosen at those words. He had been thinking of himself as dangerous, as wrong somehow. Hearing someone say he was not a monster helped. If you are sure, Krell said slowly, we will monitor everything. At the first sign of distress, we will pull you out. Velthor nodded and walked toward Hyansu's cell. The wall section dissolved, creating an opening. The scarred alien stepped inside, and the wall reformed behind him. Up close, Hyansu could see that Velthor's scars were old. Whatever had hurt him had happened long ago. The alien moved carefully, like someone who had learned not to trust their own body. I am ready when you are, Velthor said. Hyansu stood and held out his hand. I'm sorry if this hurts you. Do not apologize for being what you are, Velthor said. He reached out slowly. His fingers trembled slightly. Their hands touched. Velthor gasped and his legs buckled, but he did not fall. He did not scream. His eyes went wide and his colors flickered rapidly, but he stayed standing. His hand gripped Hyansu's tightly, like a man holding onto a rope in a storm. Seconds passed. Velthor's breathing came fast and shallow. Sweat, or something like it, appeared on his skin. But he held on. Finally, after what felt like forever, Velthor let go. He staggered backward and sat down hard on the floor. His whole body shook. Velthor! Krell's voice came through the speakers. Are you injured? No, Velthor said. His voice was rough. I am amazed. Outside the cell, every alien leaned forward. What did you sense? Raish asked. Velthor looked up at Hyansu with something like wonder in his eyes. Chaos, he said. Beautiful, terrible chaos. His mind is not one voice. It is a billion voices all screaming at once. Every thought spawns 10 more thoughts. Every memory connects to 100 other memories. There is no silence in there. No peace. Just constant noise and activity and processing. That sounds horrible, Jiwoo said quietly. It should be, Velthor agreed. Any other species would go mad from it. But somehow, the human brain takes all that chaos and makes it work. It is like watching a storm create patterns instead of destroying them. Hyansu sat down across from Velthor. Is that why Thelvin collapsed? Too much noise? Thelvin tried to bring order to your mind, Velthor said. That is what powerful telepaths do. They touch a mind and organize it, make it clear so they can understand it. But your mind cannot be organized that way. It would be like trying to organize a hurricane. The storm would destroy you. So human minds are storms, Hyansu said. Yes, Velthor said. But they are controlled storms. Somehow you live in chaos every second of every day and function perfectly well. You do not even notice how extraordinary that is because you have never known anything else. Krell was manipulating his console frantically. This explains the brain scans. The constant activity is not a malfunction. It is normal for humans. They evolved to handle it. But why? Raish asked. Why would a species evolve such noisy minds? Maybe it made them smarter, Jiwoo suggested. More creative. If you are constantly making connections between different thoughts, maybe you come up with new ideas faster. It would certainly make them unpredictable, Velthor said. He was still shaking slightly. I could sense the human surface thoughts. He was trying to be calm and peaceful. But underneath that, dozens of other processes were running. Memories, plans, worries, hopes, ideas. All happening at the same time. And beneath that, even more layers I could not reach. Hyansu thought about this. He had never considered that his thinking was special. It was just how thinking worked. You had ideas, and those ideas reminded you of other things, and sometimes you worried while also planning, while also remembering something from childhood. That was normal. What about the others? Taeyang asked. Can other telepaths try what Velther just did? Velther shook his head. Weak telepaths might manage it, but powerful ones like Thelvan, they would be destroyed. Their minds are too organized, too structured. Contact with a human mind would shatter that structure. Then humans are immune to telepathy, Resh said slowly. Not because of mental shields or psychic power, but because our telepathy simply cannot function in that much chaos. It is more than immunity, Krell said, still studying his scans. It is incompatibility. Human minds and telepathic minds operate on completely different principles. Like trying to run water-based software on a fire-based computer. Commander Taeyang looked at Hyan-Su through the transparent wall. What does this mean for humanity? It means you are unique, Velther said. In a galaxy where telepaths have always been the diplomats and the negotiators because they can understand any mind, humans are the first species they cannot understand. You are immune to mental control, immune to telepathic manipulation. No mind reader can enter your thoughts without being overwhelmed. Is that good or bad? Hyan-Su asked. That depends, Resh said. There are species in the galaxy who use telepathy to conquer others. They dominate minds and enslave entire planets. They have always been unstoppable, but they could not conquer humans. So we would make good allies, Taeyang said carefully. Or dangerous enemies, Resh replied. A species that cannot be read, cannot be influenced telepathically. Some members of the council will see you as a threat. Ji Woo stepped forward. And what about you? Do you see us as a threat? Resh was quiet for a long moment. His color shifted through several patterns. Finally, he said, I see you as something new. Something the galaxy has never encountered. That is frightening. But it is also interesting. Velther managed to stand up, though he still looked shaken. I request permission to continue studying the humans. With their consent, of course. If we can understand how their minds work, it will change everything we know about consciousness. I consent, Hyan-Su said immediately. If it helps fix this situation. And Thelvan? Taeyang asked. What about the ambassador? Krell. What about the ambassador? Krell checked his console. He's still unconscious. His mind, the alien research facility, had been built in orbit around Earth. It was smaller than the main ship, but still huge by human standards. Through the windows, Hyan-Su could see his home planet turning slowly below, blue and white and beautiful. 2 weeks had passed since Velther first touched his mind. In that time, more tests had been run. More aliens had attempted contact with varying results. Some managed it. Others could not. It all depended on how powerful their telepathy was. Today was different. Today they were testing multiple volunteers at once, trying to measure exactly what happened when telepaths touched human minds. Hyan-Su sat in a chair in the center of a large room. Around him stood 5 aliens from 5 different species. Each one had some form of telepathic ability. Each one looked nervous. Dr. Jiwoo monitored equipment from a safe distance behind protective glass. Commander Taeyang stood next to her, watching carefully. Velther and Krell coordinated the tests from their consoles. We will start with Prill, Velther announced through the speakers. She has the weakest telepathy among the volunteers. She can only sense emotions, and only from willing participants. A small alien stepped forward. Prill looked like a frog that had been stretched tall and given 4 arms instead of 2. Her skin was wet and reflected the lights in rainbow patterns. She moved toward Hyan-Su with tiny, nervous steps. Hello, Hyan-Su said gently. He had learned that soft voices helped calm the nervous aliens. Thank you for volunteering. I am honored to help, Prill said. Her translator made her voice sound high and chirping. Please, may I touch your hand? Hyan-Su extended his hand, palm up. I'm ready. Prill reached out with one of her 4 hands. Her fingers were long and webbed. They felt cool and damp against his skin. The moment they touched, Prill made a sound like a squeaking door. Her big eyes went even wider. But she did not pull away immediately. She held on for several seconds before finally letting go and hopping backward. Report, Krell said. Prill was breathing fast, her throat pulsing. It is like standing in rain, she said. Heavy rain that comes from all directions. I could feel kindness, curiosity, concern for me. But those feelings were buried under so much else. Worry about Earth. Memory of breakfast. A song stuck in his head. Planning what to say next. All at once. All equally loud. Did it hurt you? Velther asked. No, Prill said. But it was overwhelming, like trying to hear one instrument in an orchestra, where every instrument is playing a different song. The next volunteer stepped forward. This one looked like living crystal, all sharp angles and geometric shapes. Light passed through his body and split into rainbows. His name was Sharn. I can read surface thoughts and recent memories, Sharn said. His voice sounded like wind chimes. I will attempt contact now. Sharn placed one faceted hand on Hyan-Su's palm. The crystal alien's body immediately began flickering between colors, cycling faster and faster. He held the contact for exactly 10 seconds before pulling away and making a sound like breaking glass. 97, Sharn said, his voice now sounding strained. 97 separate thought processes occurring simultaneously. I counted them. The human was consciously thinking about staying calm and not hurting me. But his mind was also processing room temperature, planning his next meal, solving a math problem for no reason, remembering his mother's face, worrying about a friend back home, and 91 other things. All at the exact same time. Ji Woo spoke up from behind the glass. That's actually fairly normal for humans. Our brains handle multiple background processes constantly. How? Sharn asked, his crystal body still flickering. How do you focus on anything? How do you make decisions when your mind is doing 100 things at once? Hyan-Su thought about it. I guess we just do. We learn to ignore most of it. Focus on what matters right now. The rest runs in the background. Incredible, Krell muttered, making notes on his console. One by one, the other volunteers made contact. Each described the same thing in different ways. A storm, a flood, a war, chaos. But all of them survived the contact, and all of them reported sensing Hyan-Su's genuine kindness beneath the noise. Finally, it was Velther's turn again. The scarred telepath approached Hyan-Su with more confidence than he had 2 weeks ago. He had been practicing, preparing himself. I want to try going deeper this time, Velther said. Beyond the surface thoughts. Into the subconscious if I can. With your permission. You have it, Hyan-Su said. Velther gripped Hyan-Su's hand with both of his own. His eyes closed. His breathing slowed. Sweat began forming on his skin almost immediately. Seconds passed. Then minutes. Velther's body started trembling. His colors flickered wildly. Behind the glass, Jiwoo looked worried. Velther, your vital signs are becoming unstable, Krell warned. I can handle it, Velther gasped. I can see layers, so many layers. His voice became strained as he described what he sensed. The conscious mind on top. Organized thoughts, words, plans. But beneath that, emotions. Love and fear and anger all existing together. Not contradicting, just all present. And beneath that, instincts. Ancient survival programming. Fight or flee. Protect the tribe. Fear the dark. All still active, still influencing everything. Velthor's grip tightened. His whole body was shaking now. And beneath that, creativity, imagination, the ability to picture things that do not exist. To dream, to wonder what if, and then use that wondering to create reality. That is how humans advanced so quickly. They dream the impossible and then make it real. Velthor, you need to break contact, Krell said urgently. Almost. Done, Velthor said. Deeper. There is something deeper. A foundation layer, where consciousness comes from, where the self lives. It is like looking at the source code of reality, how awareness emerges from matter. I can almost, now, Krell shouted. Break contact now. Velthor released Hyan-Su's hand and collapsed. Medical personnel rushed forward with their equipment, but Velthor waved them away. I am fine, he said, though he was clearly not fine. He looked exhausted and amazed at the same time. I am better than fine. I just saw something no telepath has ever seen. The human mind builds consciousness from the ground up, layer upon layer, each one chaotic but somehow functioning together. Hyan-Su helped Velthor to a chair. Did you find what you were looking for? I found more than I expected, Velthor said. Human minds are not just chaotic. They are creative in ways telepathic minds are not. We telepaths think in clear, organized patterns. We see the world as it is. But humans, you see the world as it is and as it could be at the same time. Every moment you are imagining alternatives, possibilities, changes. That is what makes you dangerous and wonderful. Dangerous? Taeyang asked sharply. Krell turned from his console. He means dangerous to those who want to control others. Telepathic conquerors work by imposing their will on other minds. They create order where there was disorder. But human minds are already controlled chaos. There is no disorder to exploit. Nothing to impose order upon. The chaos is the order. So we really are immune to mind control, Jiwoo said. More than immune, Velthor said, still catching his breath. Incompatible. A telepath trying to control a human mind would destroy themselves trying. Thelvin learned that the hard way. Speaking of Thelvin, Taeyang said, How is he? Awake, Resh's voice came from the doorway. The dark-skinned alien entered the room. He woke up this morning. He is still weak but recovering. He has asked to see the human. Hyan-Su stood up immediately. I would like to see him too. To apologize. You have nothing to apologize for, Resh said. But he would like to meet you properly. Without telepathy, this time. They walked through the facility's corridors. The walls here were designed to look calming, with colors that shifted gently and patterns that seemed to flow like water. Other aliens stopped to stare at Hyan-Su as he passed. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. Word had spread through the alien community. The humans who could not be read. The chaotic minds that shattered telepaths. Some saw it as fascinating. Others saw it as threatening. Thelvin's medical room was large and filled with equipment that hummed and glowed. The ambassador lay on a bed that seemed to float in the air. He looked smaller than Hyan-Su remembered, frailer. His colors were pale and barely moving. But when he saw Hyan-Su, Thelvin smiled. It was a strange expression on an alien face, but unmistakably a smile. Lieutenant Hyan-Su, Thelvin said. His voice was weak but clear. Thank you for coming. Hyan-Su bowed. Ambassador, I am so sorry for what happened. Do not be, Thelvin said. I made assumptions. I thought all minds followed the same patterns. I was arrogant. You taught me humility by simply being yourself. Can you describe what you experienced? Velther asked. He had followed them to the medical room, still fascinated by the research. Thelvin was quiet for a moment, gathering his thoughts. Imagine standing inside a star, he finally said. Not near it. Inside it. Where matter turns to energy and energy turns to matter and everything is becoming something else constantly. That is what touching a human mind felt like. Hoik. I tried to make it stop. Tried to slow it down so I could understand it. And that effort broke me. But you will recover? Ji-Woo asked. Yes, Thelvin said. The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room Hyun-Soo had ever seen. It stretched so far in every direction that he could barely see the walls. Thousands of aliens filled the space, each representing a different species from across the galaxy. Some floated in special atmosphere bubbles. Others stood on platforms adjusted for their gravity needs. A few existed as pure energy contained in magnetic fields. Hyun-Soo stood at the center of it all, on a raised platform. Next to him were Commander Tae-Yang and Dr. Ji-Woo, the only other humans in the entire chamber. Around them, aliens spoke in hundreds of languages, while translator devices struggled to keep up. I did not expect this many, Tae-Yang whispered. Everyone wants to see the humans who broke a telepath, Ji-Woo whispered back. We are the most interesting thing to happen to the galaxy in centuries. Ambassador Thelvin stood nearby, still weak, but determined to attend. He had insisted on presenting the human case himself, despite Risha's concerns about his health. Velther and Krell stood with him, ready to provide scientific evidence about human minds. A being made of living light floated above the assembly. Its translator announced, "The Council recognizes Ambassador Thelvin of the Mindweavers. The floor is yours." Thelvin stepped forward. His colors were still pale but growing stronger each day. Honored Council members, I come before you to speak about the species called humans. 3 weeks ago, I attempted first contact with them using traditional Mindweaver protocols. The contact resulted in severe injury to myself and created a crisis that has brought us all here today. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some aliens looked sympathetic. Others looked suspicious. I want to be clear, Thelvin continued. The humans did not attack me. They did not intend harm. What happened was the result of a fundamental incompatibility between telepathic minds and human minds. An incompatibility we did not know existed. A large alien covered in scales stood up from the audience. Ambassador, your injury proves these humans are dangerous. Their very existence threatens telepathic species. They should be quarantined to their planet for the safety of the galaxy. Other voices joined in agreement. Hyun-Soo felt his stomach tighten. They had come here hoping to join the galaxy. Instead, they might be imprisoned on Earth forever. Velther stepped forward. If I may address the Council? I am Velther, a former Mindweaver. I have conducted extensive research on human minds. What we discovered is not a weapon. It is a different form of consciousness. He activated a holographic display that showed images of human brains. Human minds operate in a state of what we call controlled chaos. Billions of neurons firing constantly, processing multiple streams of information simultaneously. They evolved this way. It is natural for them. And it makes them immune to telepathic influence not because of strength, but because of incompatibility. A floating jellyfish-like creature spoke up, its words bubbling through liquid. Incompatibility? Explain. Krell joined Velther. Telepathy requires finding patterns in another mind and connecting with those patterns. Human minds have too many patterns occurring at once. Too much activity. Trying to connect with a human mind is like trying to grab a specific water molecule from a waterfall. The chaos overwhelms the telepath before connection can be established. This makes them perfect weapons against the Dominion, another alien called out. The Dominion has conquered 17 worlds using telepathic control. If humans are immune, they could fight back. We are not weapons, Taeyang said firmly, his voice carried across the chamber. We are people. We did not ask to be immune to telepathy. We did not even know we were different until you told us. We just want to join the galactic community as equals. Equals? The scaled alien laughed, a harsh sound. You are primitives who barely understand fusion power. You have no right to demand equality. Then, why are you so afraid of us? Hyan-Su asked. He had not planned to speak, but the words came out before he could stop them. The chamber went quiet. Thousands of alien eyes turned to him. Hyan-Su continued, his voice steady despite his nervousness. If we are just primitives, why does our existence threaten you? Why are you debating whether to lock us away? It is because you know we are different. Not better. Not worse. Different. And different scares you because telepaths have been the most powerful beings in the galaxy for so long. Thelvan nodded approvingly. The human speaks truth. For millions of years, mind-weavers and other telepathic species have dominated galactic politics because we could understand any mind we encountered. We became arrogant. We assumed all consciousness worked like ours. The humans showed us we were wrong. A small bird-like alien flew up to the speaking platform. I represent the Chur Collective. We were conquered by the Dominion 50 years ago. They control our minds, force us to serve them. If humans truly are immune to telepathy, they could help free my people. I vote to accept humanity into the council. Other voices joined in. Species that had suffered under telepathic control. Species that feared the Dominion. One by one, they stood and declared support for humanity. But other voices opposed it. Telepathic species worried about losing their advantage. Conservative species that feared change. Isolationist species that wanted no new members at all. The being of living light spoke again. We have heard arguments from both sides. But perhaps we should hear from the humans themselves. Lieutenant Hyan-Su, you experienced the first contact directly. What would you say to this council? Hyan-Su looked at Taeyang, who nodded. He stepped forward to address the galaxy. I am not a politician, Hyan-Su began. I am a soldier. I follow orders and try to do my duty. When Ambassador Thelvan asked to touch my mind, I agreed because I wanted to help. I had no idea what would happen. I still do not fully understand it. He paused, gathering his thoughts. But I have learned things in the past few weeks. I learned that my mind is chaotic by your standards. That my thoughts are a storm you cannot navigate. I learned that this makes me immune to telepathy. And I learned that this scares some of you. He looked around the chamber at the thousands of alien faces. But here is what I want you to know. Humans are not warriors seeking conquest. We are explorers, scientists, artists, families. We look at the stars and wonder what is out there. We dream of meeting other intelligent life. We hope to learn from you and share what we know. His voice grew stronger. Yes, our minds work differently than yours. Yes, we cannot be read telepathically. But that does not make us your enemies. It makes us your partners. Because we can stand against those who use telepathy for evil, and we can do it without threatening those who use it for good. Ji Woo stepped forward to join him. I am a scientist. I have spent the past weeks studying telepathy with Crow and Velthor. What we discovered is fascinating. Human immunity to telepathy is not a weapon. It is a trait. Like having blue eyes or being tall. We did not choose it. We cannot turn it off. It is simply what we are. She activated another hologram showing comparative brain scans. But look at this. Human brains and telepathic brains process information differently. Yes. but both are equally complex, equally sophisticated. Neither is better. They are just different solutions to the same problem: how to be conscious and intelligent. Tae-Yang spoke last. The Council must make a choice. You can quarantine humanity out of fear. Lock us on our planet and pretend we do not exist. But that would be a waste. Or you can accept us as members of the galactic community. Let us contribute our unique perspective. Let us help fight against telepathic tyranny. Let us prove that different kinds of minds can work together. The chamber erupted in discussion. Aliens argued with each other in 100 languages. The debate went on for hours. Finally, the being of light called for order. The Council will now vote. Those in favor of granting humanity provisional membership, show your sign. Lights began appearing throughout the chamber. Each species had its own way of voting. Some glowed. Some made sounds. Some released specific chemicals into the air that sensors detected. The counting took several minutes. Hyan-Su held his breath. Ji-Woo gripped his arm. Tae-Yang stood rigid with tension. The vote is decided, the light being announced. By a margin of 62%, humanity is granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council. You will have 1 year to prove your intentions are peaceful. During this time, you may not colonize other worlds or develop weapons of mass destruction. But you will have access to galactic knowledge, trade, and diplomatic relations. Cheers erupted from some sections of the chamber. Others remained silent or left in protest. But it was done. Humanity had joined the galaxy. Thelvin approached the human delegation with a smile. Congratulations. You argued your case well. Thank you for supporting us, Hyan-Su said. After what I did to you, I thought you would want us locked away. What you did to me was teach me humility, Thelvin said. You showed me that the universe is more complex than I imagined. That is a gift, not an attack. Velthor joined them. There is much research still to do. Understanding human consciousness could help us understand consciousness itself. Would you be willing to continue working with us? Yes, Hyan-Su said without hesitation. If it helps both our species understand each other better. Reish appeared from the crowd. The Council has also made another decision. They want to establish a special division dedicated to countering telepaths. 6 months had passed since the Council vote. The alien garden on Station Harmony had become Hyan-Su's favorite place to think. Plants from 100 different worlds grew together here, creating combinations of colors and scents that Earth had never known. Purple grass from a high-gravity world grew next to floating flowers that drifted on electromagnetic fields. Bioluminescent vines climbed walls while crystalline moss made music in the artificial breeze. Hyan-Su sat on a bench made from living wood that shaped itself to his body. He was reading a report on his tablet when he sensed someone approaching. He had learned to recognize Velthor's footsteps over the months of working together. You spend a lot of time here, Velthor said, settling onto the bench beside him. The alien had grown more comfortable around humans. He no longer flinched when they moved quickly or spoke loudly. It reminds me that the universe is bigger than I imagined, Hyan-Su said. Every time I think I understand how diverse life can be, I see something new. That is a very human way of thinking, Velthor observed. Always looking for the next discovery. Always curious. Telepathic species tend to be more conservative. We know what is in other minds, so we assume we know everything important. That sounds lonely, Hyan-Su said. Velthor tilted his head, considering. Perhaps it is. We never thought of it that way. But watching humans work with alien species these past months has shown me something. You connect through language and gesture and shared experience. It takes longer than telepathy, but maybe the connection is stronger because you worked for it. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Velthor said, Ambassador Thelvan wants to see you. He has news. They found Thelvan in his office overlooking the station's central plaza. The ambassador looked healthy now, his colors bright and shifting smoothly. But his telepathic abilities remained limited, just like Vulthor's. He claimed he did not miss his old power. "Ansu, thank you for coming," Thelvan said. "I have received reports from the Anti-Dominion Task Force. The mission was successful." Ansu felt relief wash through him. The task force had been humanity's first real test in galactic politics. A team of humans and aliens had gone to a Dominion-controlled world to free the population from telepathic control. It had been risky. The Dominion's telepaths were powerful and ruthless. "What happened?" Ansu asked. Thelvan activated a holographic display. It showed a planet with cities that looked like they had been grown rather than built. The Dominion controlled the Chur people through constant telepathic oversight. Every thought monitored. Every action directed. The Chur had no free will at all. The display shifted to show the mission. Your human teammates, Minho and Era, were able to approach the Dominion telepaths without being detected. The telepaths tried to control them, of course. But as we predicted, human minds cannot be controlled. The telepaths were overwhelmed trying. "Like what happened with you," Ansu said. "Exactly. While the Dominion telepaths were incapacitated, our team freed the Chur people and helped them establish mental shields. The Chur are free now for the first time in 50 years. And it was possible because humans can resist what no other species can." Ansu felt pride swell in his chest, but also caution. The Dominion will retaliate. They cannot allow this to go unanswered. "They already have," another voice said. Dr. Jiwoo entered the office, followed by Commander Tae Yang. Both looked serious. The Dominion has declared humanity an enemy of their empire. They are demanding the Council hand us over for punishment. The Council refused, of course, Taeyang added. But it means we are officially at war with one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. Earth is preparing defenses now. Thelvan nodded gravely. The Dominion has conquered 17 worlds through telepathic control. They have never faced an enemy they could not dominate mentally. You humans are the first species that can truly oppose them. "No pressure," Ansu muttered. Jiwoo smiled, despite the tension. "Actually, there is good news too. Krell has made a breakthrough in understanding human consciousness. It could change how we think about minds entirely." She activated her own hologram, showing complex neural maps. "We always knew human brains were chaotic. But Krell discovered that the chaos itself is the source of creativity. See these patterns? They look random, but they are actually exploring possibility space. Human minds are constantly running simulations of different scenarios. What if I do this? What if that happens? How would this work? It is like your brains are solving puzzles that do not even exist yet." "That explains a lot about human innovation," Welter said. "You advance technologically faster than species twice your age because you are always imagining improvements. Always asking, what if we tried this instead? It also explains human art," Thelvan added. "Telepathic species create art by sharing clear emotional experiences. But human art is different. It suggests. It implies. It leaves room for interpretation. Because your minds naturally fill in gaps and imagine possibilities." Ansu thought about Earth's museums. About paintings that made you feel things you could not name. About music that told stories without words. About sculptures that looked different from every angle. Maybe that was the chaos at work. Human minds making connections that telepaths never would. "So our chaotic minds are not a bug," he said. "They are a feature." "Exactly," Jiwoo said. "And we are learning to use that feature." Earth scientists are developing new technologies based on chaos theory. Things that telepathic species never considered because their minds are too orderly. We are already contributing unique innovations to the galaxy. Taeyang cleared his throat. Which brings me to why I'm here. The Council wants to establish an embassy on Earth, a permanent diplomatic presence. They want humans and aliens working together, learning from each other. And they want you, Hyan-Su, to be Earth's representative to the Council. Hyan-Su stared at him. Me? I am just a soldier. I do not know anything about politics. You are the first human to touch an alien telepath, Telvin said gently. You are the symbol of first contact. And you have shown wisdom and patience in dealing with species that feared you. You are exactly who Earth needs representing them. Plus, Jiwoo added with a grin, you are the only human most of the Council has met. You are famous whether you like it or not. Hyan-Su looked out the window at the station below. Hundreds of species moving together, trading, talking, living side by side. 6 months ago, he had been a simple naval officer on Earth. Now he was being asked to represent his entire species to the galaxy. What would I have to do? He asked. Attend council sessions, Taeyang said. Vote on galactic issues. Help other species understand humanity and help humanity understand the galaxy. Work with the Anti-Dominion Task Force. Continue research with Velther and Krull. Basically, be the bridge between Earth and the stars. That is a lot of responsibility, Hyan-Su said. Yes, Telvin agreed. But you have already been doing it. We are just making it official. Hyan-Su was quiet for a long moment. He thought about Earth, so far away now. He thought about his family and friends who still lived normal lives under normal skies. He thought about the alien telepath who had screamed and collapsed when touching his mind, and how that terrible moment had somehow led to this. I will do it, he said finally. On one condition. Name it, Taeyang said. I want other humans involved too. I cannot be Earth's only voice. We need scientists like Jiwoo, diplomats, artists, people from different countries and cultures. The galaxy needs to see all of humanity, not just me. Already planned, Taeyang said with a smile. Earth is sending a delegation of 50 people from 20 different nations. You will lead them, but you will not be alone. Relief flooded through Hyan-Su. He would not have to carry this burden by himself. Velther stood up. If we are done with official business, I have something personal to share. I have been working with human meditation techniques, trying to understand how you manage mental chaos without going insane. And I discovered something interesting. He held out his hand. I would like to try touching your mind again. Not to study you, just to experience it. With your permission. Hyan-Su extended his own hand. Of course. Their fingers touched. Velther's eyes closed, and his colors began shifting rapidly. But he did not gasp or stagger. He held steady, breathing slowly. After a minute, he opened his eyes and smiled. I can sense individual thoughts now, like hearing separate instruments instead of just noise. You are thinking about responsibility, about home, about hope, and underneath, you are still wondering if you are good enough for this role. That is accurate, Hyan-Su admitted. Let me tell you what else I sense, Velther said, still holding his hand. Courage, kindness, a desire to do right by others. You worry you are not good enough, but that worry itself proves you are. Someone who did not care would not worry. He released Hyan-Su's hand. Thank you for letting me practice. I am learning to navigate the storm instead of fighting it. It is actually peaceful in there, once you accept the chaos. Jiwoo laughed. A telepathic alien just told a human that his mind is peaceful. I never thought I would hear that. 6 months ago, I would not have believed it either, Velther admitted. Asterisk.